If you're wondering why the length of this video is so long, and you haven't gotten it already, this is essentially just a compilation of all my ABA Compare and Contrast I've had this year. Now, I know I said I would plan on uploading some more videos earlier, but school projects got in the way, and I have finals next week, so just take this for now. Anyways, remember to like and subscribe, and let's begin. Welcome to a new potential series titled ABA Compare and Contrast. In this series, I'll be comparing characters from ABA to characters from Heaven's Arena. More specifically, the movesets that these characters have. Today's episode, Namek Goku. Thanks for Giorno for recommending me this idea. So obviously, if you've played these two games, then you know that they're very similar. So let's start with the most known beginner character. Goku comes from the popular anime, Dragon Ball, in which he is shown to take many forms. Although in these games, there seems to be a lack of those said forms. So let's take a look at Heaven's Arena's Goku. So, in Heaven's Arena, Goku has 4, technically 5, moves. Those being Meteor Strike, Kaioken Finisher, Kaioken Rush, Kamehameha, and Spirit Bomb, respectively. Now, let's look at ABA's Goku. This Goku has a more widespread moveset due to him having an awakening. In his base, his moves consist of Kamehameha, Rush, Dragon Combo, and Kaioken times 20. In his awakening, he takes the form of Super Saiyan 1, or known as SSJ1. In this form, he uses Super Kamehameha, Super Rush, Dragon Combo X, and Spirit Bomb. As you can tell, both of these movesets are very similar. They both utilize the same type of moves, just having different functions. The most noticeable one is their Kaiokens, Heaven's Arena only being used to boost certain attacks. Meanwhile, in ABA, Kaioken is used as a damage buff for all of Goku's moves. I think the biggest difference that can be spotted is the lack of awakening within Heaven's Arena's Goku. As you can tell, instead of having an awakening, Heaven's Arena Goku will instead have an ultimate, which is Spirit Bomb, which isn't necessarily bad. It just means when you're playing Goku in Heaven's Arena, you must be more cautious than you have to be in ABA. So, I can't really say how both of these characters would compete against each other due to the different mechanics of the game, so I'll give my opinions on them, and how they feel to play as. Let's start with Heaven's Arena. Heaven's Arena Goku is very solid. His moveset definitely flows with how the game works, and is a perfect beginner character, not too hard to use, while not being complete trash either, consisting of one main combo extender, and a secondary combo extender when next to a wall. I can say for myself that he's a fun character to play, and what I believe is how a beginner character should work for a game. Now, with ABA's Goku, I can't exactly say the same thing. Although his moves does flow well with the game mechanics, he doesn't exactly feel as beginner friendly compared to Heaven's Arena's Goku. And especially since there's no tutorial, most beginners will be confused on how to even combo start. And with his janky feeling moves, I highly doubt they'll know how to combo extend either. Not to mention the lack of good guard breaks, leaving them forced to play off of M1s. Now, just because Goku isn't beginner friendly, doesn't necessarily mean he's bad. Far from it actually. When put in the hands of someone who's played the game for a while, he becomes quite the menace. So when it comes to starting out the game, I believe that Heaven's Arena's Goku is superior, but when it comes to PvP, ABA's Goku takes the cake with that one. In conclusion, they're both really solid variations of Namek Goku, but in my opinion, I believe Heaven's Arena's Goku is better than ABA's Goku due to the fact that it's easier to pick up, plus the tutorial that Heaven's Arena provides. Now, keep in mind, this is my opinion, so no hate is thrown to anyone. Now, with that being said, if you guys like this type of video, subscribe and like, and let me know in the comments if you want to see more videos like this. And also tell me your takes on Heaven's Arena's Goku versus ABA's Goku. Welcome back to another episode of ABA Compare and Contrast. the series where I take characters from ABA and characters from Heaven's Arena and compare them to each other. Today's episode, Base Ichigo. So in both Heaven's Arena and ABA, there are two variants of Ichigo, one being his Bankai form, and the other being the form we will be comparing today. Without further ado, let us begin. Ichigo comes from the popular anime Bleach. Now, since last time we looked over Heaven's Arena first, let's take a look at ABA's Ichigo. Ichigo's moveset consists of 4 moves: Getsuga Tensho, Getsuga Slash, Multi-Cut, and Lunge. Just like Goku, Ichigo also has an awakening. This time, Ichigo takes the form of his Bankai state, which consists of the exact same moves, but stronger. Now, let's check out Heaven's Arena's Ichigo. This Ichigo only consists of 4 moves in total, those being Hollow Slayer, Raitsu Slash, Flying Getsuga Tensho, and Getsuga Tensho. Now, unlike Goku, these movesets aren't all that similar. Although they both utilize the Getsuga Tensho, each move functions differently. At first, you may think that Lunge and Hollow Slayer are similar, but they're not at all. Lunge is a basic teleport forward knockback move, meanwhile Hollow Slayer's dash forward combo extender. What separates them from each other is the conditions of landing the moves. Lunge is sweet and simple. All you have to do is just get in front of the opponent and hope that they don't block it. While Hollow Slayer is more complex, forcing you to be a certain distance away to land the move. Now, this is the point in the video where I give my opinion on both Ichigos. This time, we'll start off with ABA. ABA's Ichigo is kind of hard to describe. Instead of being a quick combo character like he should, he's more of a run and spam type character, although this isn't all that bad. Due to his moves having hyper armor, this run and spam playstyle benefits him greatly, which also makes him an incredible beginner character, since most players won't know how to play the game, and they'll just instinctively spam their skills. Now, for Heaven's Arena's Ichigo. This Ichigo is not beginner friendly at all. His only main combo extender is something you have to time to land properly, and even for his other combo extenders, you're forced to use them next to a wall to even combo extend with them. Now, just because his extenders aren't the easiest to pull off, doesn't mean he should be thrown aside for someone like Goku. When given enough playtime, Ichigo becomes something to fear, especially with his insane ultimate game. In conclusion, both Ichigos have their ups and their downs, with ABA's Ichigo being the beginner-friendly one, and Heaven's Arena's Ichigo being the skilled menace. But in my opinion, I believe that ABA's Ichigo is superior. The fact that he's insanely easy to use when starting out is a huge feat, but when given to someone who can play the game properly, makes him a million times better. Now, keep in mind this is my opinion, so none of this is meant to offend anyone. If you guys like the series, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll continue to make more videos like this. Don't forget to tell me your take on Heaven's Arena's Ichigo versus ABA's Ichigo in the comments below. Welcome back to another episode of ABA Compare and Contrast, the series where I take characters from ABA and compare them to characters from Heaven's Arena. Today's episode isn't even a character at all. Today, we'll be looking over the game mechanics. I probably should have done this for the first episode, but starting off with Goku was more poetic, so... Now with that being said, let's begin. First, we'll go over the most basic form of combat, M1s. Both games feature a multiple hit M1 string. ABA with 5 total M1s, and Heaven's Arena with 4. Now, where the games start to differ is the final hit of their M1s. In ABA, you're offered 4 different variants of final M1s, all depending on whether you're in the air, on the ground, or holding space. These variants consist of the basic kickback, up fling, down slam, and drop kick. All of these will guard break if blocked. In Heaven's Arena, they treat this aspect differently. Instead of a final hit knocking back, They put this feature on the M2, or more commonly known as the right mouse button. There are 3 variants of M2s, those being kickback, upfling, and down slam, with the only one that guard breaks being kickback, as upfling does not guard break and down slam can only be used in an air M1 combo, which I'll get into shortly. Now, unlike ABA where you're forced to do a full M1 string to get the final hit, inside of Heaven's Arena, you can do an upfling or kickback whenever you feel like it. But keep in mind, you won't always get away with this scot-free. Now, let's talk about aerial M1s. Within ABA, you're given the ability to up tilt if you hold space while M1ing on the ground. This will take the opponent into the air, allowing you to combo them from above, while also applying more stun than the basic M1, giving you the chance to throw out a move to extend your combo and refresh your M1 string. To continue to attack them in the air, you must hold space in M1 after up tilting. While you're in the air, you're given the choice of 2 M1 finishers, which are dropkick and down slam. To initiate a dropkick, you must hold space and do your final M1. A small thing that dropkicks have is that if you hit the opponent to the wall, it'll damage them for 5 extra damage, so use that to your liking. To do a down slam, you must let go of space either on your final M1 or just before it. If you were to let go of space before your final M1, you're given a new M1 variant called down tilt. This M1 variant is probably the worst out of the bunch, as it doesn't have enough stun to combo, giving them the ability to block afterwards. Although it can be used for attempting to mix up the opponent, so keep that in mind. With all of that out of the way, let's move on to Heaven's Arena's aerial M1s. To start off an aerial combo, you must hit an opponent with an upfling first. To do so, you must hold E, then do an M2. To follow them up, you must press R to rush at them. Not much changes while you're in the air. The only one significance is that if you hold E and M2 in the air, you gain the ability of down slamming, which you'll need to land your ultimate. I'll get into those in a little bit. You also have the option to upfling them once more in the air by holding space and doing an M2, although there's not much use for this feature, apart from some moves. Now, that should be all for M1s. Let's move on to Awakenings and Ultimates. In ABA, majority of characters have their own unique awakenings, either giving them a new moveset entirely, or giving them stronger variants of their base moves. Sometimes their awakening could just be a one-shot. During the animation of the awakening, they'll be granted iframes until the animation is over. Awakenings will also heal the player back to full, with All Might being an exception to this. Most characters will get a passive upon awakening, like extra speed or an HP buff. These awakenings are designed to be strong, so be careful when someone awakens. Now, for Heaven's Arena. Instead of awakenings, characters will have ultimates, which are entirely unique for each character. Only exception being Giorno, who has an awakening instead of an ultimate. Although, I won't go too much into detail about him since it's nothing too special. Majority of ultimates have a ton of startup, so to confirm into your ultimate, you must down slam the opponent first. Now, that's all for ultimates and awakenings, I believe. I don't think there's any more mechanics to really talk about from ABA, so let's go over Heaven's Arena's extra mechanics. First, let's start off with Evasion. Evasion is a move which everyone has, where if you press C, it'll free you from M1s, although this can only happen if you're being M1'd on the ground. If you get M1'd in the air, there's not much you can do about it. A nice feature that's in the game is if you're playing 2s or 3s, and both of your teammates are dead, and it's a 2v1 or a 3v1, whenever you use Evasion, the cooldown will be halved, giving you a better chance of fighting them. Next off is Rush. I talked about this a little bit in the M1 section, so let's go into full detail. Rush has a few more uses aside from landing you an aerial combo. You're able to use Rush directly after landing a knockback move, allowing you to follow up for a combo. Although I only suggest this if your opponent's evasion is off cooldown, since they can just use evasion and you lose your rush in the process. Rush can also be used to chase your opponents if they're running away. Although, be careful, as the opponent can block your rush, or even parry you. If 2 people use rush at the same time on each other, this will end up in a collision, resulting in both of them being knocked back and being put at a stalemate. Now, this section isn't as big, but we'll talk more about parrying. To parry, first, your opponent must rush at you. The moment you see that they're rushing you, go for an upfling. After that, you can use your rush for a free air combo. And don't worry, once you parry someone, your rush will automatically be put off of cooldown. Let's talk about wall extending now. All you need to do is use a knockback move on your opponent and have them hit a wall. If you're close enough, you'll be able to dash in and M1 them off of it. This is really useful whenever you're comboing someone in the air. Now, keep in mind, you're not able to use your M2 to wall extend for obvious reasons. Now, I believe that should be all of the mechanics covered. I probably missed one or two, but nothing too important. With that out of the way, this is the part where I give my opinions on them. ABA's mechanics are more simple and easier to use, and with the addition of characters having awakenings, it keeps you more invested in the battle. Although a downside is due to the balancing in the game, you're more likely to get one-shot comboed no matter what. As for Heaven's Arena, the mechanics are more complex and add a lot to the game, especially the addition of evasions, leading into the creation of some mix-up to get rid of your opponent's evasion. And combos don't seem to deal as much damage compared to ABA, so not one character has a true one-shot combo, apart from landing an ultimate. In conclusion, I feel like the mechanics of Heaven's Arena are superior in a 1v1 sense. Now, in a 2s and 3s sense, I feel like ABA's mechanics are more suited for that. Keep in mind, this is my opinion, so no hate is thrown to anyone. Don't forget to leave your take of Heaven's Arena's mechanics and ABA's mechanics in the comment section below. If you like this series, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll continue to make more. Welcome back to another episode of ABA Compare and Contrast, the series where I take characters from ABA and compare them to characters from Heaven's Arena. Today's episode, Tanjiro Kamado. Like the other two characters I compared, Tanjiro is also one of the many starter characters in the game, or well, at least for ABA, since practically every character in Heaven's Arena is free. In the last episode of Compare and Contrast, we started off with ABA, so today we'll start off with Heaven's Arena's moveset. In Heaven's Arena, Tanjiro consists of 6 moves, which so far is the most moves out of all the characters we've covered in Heaven's Arena. Those moves consist of Water Surface Slash, a simple slash combo extender which also guard breaks. Water Wheel, a multi-hitting move which guard breaks, and when used on the ground will knock back, but when used in the air will down slam instead. Lateral Water Wheel, the same as normal Water Wheel, but when used in the air, it will deal knockback instead, allowing you to wall combo off of it. Flowing Dance, a blockable teleport move that knocks back. Waterfall Basin, a multi-hit move which you can only use at a certain height in the air, which also guard breaks and hits grounded opponents, and the final hit will knock back. And finally, the ultimate, Hinokami Kagura Dance, which will insta-kill the opponent after a certain amount of HP, that also guard breaks, hits grounded opponents, and one of the only ultimates which you can land on someone via basic knockback. With all of that covered, let's look over ABA's Tanjiro. As usual to ABA characters, Tanjiro consists of 8 moves total, 4 in base, and 4 in awakening. First, let's cover his base. In his base, his moves consist of Water Wheel, a blockable move which sends you slightly forward and down slams the opponent. Flowing Dance, a multi-hit move which is blockable, but has a chance to hit behind the opponent's block. Striking Tide, a move which sends you forward, which also guard breaks and applies good amount of stun if landed. And finally, Whirlpool, a multi-hit move which sets you up for a ladder, and also guard breaks. And now for his awakening. Tanjiro controls his breathing and uses Dance of the Fire God, which allows him to use sun-breathing derived moves. These said moves are Flame Dance, a 3-hitting blockable move which combo extends. Beneficent Radiance, like Whirlpool, but deals more damage and comes out way faster. Solar Heat Haze, similar to Striking Tide, except comes out way faster, hits 3 times and has a lot less end lag. And finally, Clear Blue Sky, which is essentially just Water Wheel, except it deals more damage and guard breaks. Now with both movesets covered, it's time to give my opinion on them. Let's begin with Heaven's Arena. Heaven's Arena's Tanjiro is in a tough spot. He's a very bland but strong character. In terms of starting off the game, I feel like he's decently hard to pick up, but not as complicated compared to something like Ichigo. A huge redeeming quality of Tanjiro is how fast you gain your ultimate. You're able to get your whole bar just off one opponent's stock. And on top of that, it's possibly one of the easiest ultimates to land in the game. Now, for ABA's Tanjiro. This Tanjiro is a whole lot easier to use, especially for the fact that all of his moves are uncancelable, and a good majority of them are AoE. And then when given to someone who's more skilled at the game, Tanjiro is certainly a scary one, as he has one of the most easiest one-shot combos. And then his awakening, hands down, probably one of the most brain-dead, as all of his moves do over 30 damage, combo extend, and 3 out of 4 of them guard break. In conclusion, Heaven's Arena's Tanjiro stood no chance to the likes of ABA's Tanjiro. ABA's Tanjiro is just better in every single way. I mean, he has more combo potential, easier to land combo starters, and way more damage output. You could make the argument that Heaven's Arena's Tanjiro has some qualities that should be mentioned, like ultimate game, but stuff like those are heavily outshined by the qualities which ABA's Tanjiro has to offer. So that concludes today's episode of ABA Compare and Contrast. If you like the series, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave your take of ABA's Tanjiro versus Heaven Arena's Tanjiro in the comment section below. Welcome back to another episode of ABA Compare and Contrast, the series where I take characters from ABA and compare them to characters from Heaven's Arena. Today's episode? Monkey D. Luffy. Just like the past few videos, Luffy's also a starter character for ABA. Although for this episode, I think I'll be covering things a little bit differently here. Before we continue, don't forget to like and subscribe if you guys like this series. We're almost at 1.5k subscribers, so it would really mean a lot to me. Now, as you may know, ABA characters tend to have an awakening for each character, and in those awakenings, they usually take different forms. As for Luffy, he takes the form of Gear 2nd, and if you don't know already, Gear 2nd Luffy and Base Luffy are two separate characters in the Heaven's Arena. If you haven't caught up with what I'm going on about yet, basically for this episode, I'll be covering both Luffys from Heaven's Arena to ABA's BTS Luffy. So, why don't we start with ABA's Luffy first? In ABA, Luffy has a total of 8 moves as usual, 4 in base, and 4 in awakening. Although, he technically has 10 moves if you want to count his air variants. Now, these moves consist of Gatling, a decently high damage barrage which combo extends, but is blockable. Kick Gatling. This is only achievable if you use Gatling off the ground. This is essentially the same as its ground variant, except it supposedly does a little bit more damage. Bazooka, a high damaging move which ragdolls and knocks the opponent back, and is also Luffy's only guard break. This move will not ragdoll if the opponent is guard broken from it. Rocket, an auto aim which will pull Luffy towards the opponent. Once he comes in contact with them, they will be knocked down, allowing you to combo extend / combo start. This move is 360 degree blockable, meaning if Luffy uses it from behind you, you won't be hit by it if you're blocking. And for his final base move, Pistol, a simple auto-tracking move which is blockable, and does slight knockback, making it where you cannot combo extend with it. Although, if blocked, it cancels the opponent's block for a brief period of time. This might come in handy when playing a team-oriented game mode. As for his awakening, Luffy pumps more blood into his body, giving him a significant power boost, changing his moveset, and that being Jet Gatling, a quick barrage which is blockable that deals heavy amounts of damage, and also combo extends. Jet Stamp Gatling. Like in base, this move is only achievable when used in the air. This supposedly deals more damage as well, but unlike its ground variant, it doesn't seem to be as useful when it comes to combo extending. Jet Bazooka. Luffy takes a second before launching himself forwards at the opponent, as he then unleashes his bazooka onto them, which will ragdoll and knock back if hit, and guard break if blocked, having the same properties as base bazooka. Jet Pistol. This move works like base, but a lot faster and deals slightly more damage. And finally, Gear 3rd. Luffy creates a giant arm by blowing air into his thumb, as he then uses it to punch forward. Anyone hit by it will take heavy amounts of damage. If up close to Luffy when he does this, the damage will be reduced. But if you're past a certain range, it will insta-kill. Although, if blocked, it'll do around 3 hits of 25 damage. And now, onto Heaven's Arena's Luffy. Obviously first, we'll cover base Luffy. This Luffy's moveset consists of Pistol, a decently ranged move which has slight auto aim, which also knocks back, but is blockable. If used in the air, this move will down slam instead. Rocket. Luffy stretches his arms forward. If anyone's caught in it, Luffy will be brought towards them, as he then headbutts them. This move has a 360 degree block, just like ABA's Luffy. Gatling, a short barrage which doesn't deal too much damage, but it does combo extend, and it also bypasses block. And finally, for his ultimate, Bazooka. Luffy stretches his arms back as he then unleashes his bazooka. This move deals a decent amount of damage, it also hits grounded opponents and obviously guard breaks. Now for Gear 2nd Luffy's moveset. This Luffy has a total of 5 different moves, those being Jet Pistol, a decently ranged move which knocks back and is blockable. Unlike Base Pistol, this move will not down slam in the air, allowing you to be able to wall combo with it. Jet Bazooka, similar to ABA's Jet Bazooka, except this one doesn't guard break. Jet Gatling, a blockable short barrage which deals a good amount of damage, and combo extends. Jet Gatling Extended. Just as the name suggests, it's basically just Jet Gatling but longer. In payback for being longer, this move will also damage yourself in the process. As for his ultimate, Gear 3rd. A very high damaging move which guard breaks and hits grounded opponents, as usual to Heaven's Arena ultimates. After this move ends, Luffy will deflate, which knocks him back a bit. If he hits a wall in this state, he will take slight damage. Now, with all movesets covered, as you can tell, ABA's Luffy and Heaven's Arena's Luffy are very similar, with nothing too special. At this point in the video, this is where I give my opinion on them. For this, I'll do two separate ones. One for base Luffy, and one for Gear 2nd Luffy. So first, I'll talk about ABA's base Luffy. This Luffy is really overpowered, and he's mainly carried by one move, that being Gatling. With the whole Gatling hitbox update, it made it where the hits are more consistent, making it where if you're hit by a single second of the Gatling, you essentially got yourself stuck in a combo. This gives Luffy one of the most easiest combos ever, and I feel like due to this, plus the fact that two of his moves have auto-aim on them, makes him one of, if not the best starter character in ABA. Now, as for Heaven's Arena's Luffy, this Luffy is very lackluster. He doesn't really have too much going for him, even though the moves are practically the same as ABA's. The way the moves function are a lot more bland. For combos, the main thing that you rely on is Gatling, since if you're not near a wall, you can't really use Rocket to combo extend. And Pistol, it's only really good when you're about to land your ultimate, or when your opponent's far away, but even then they can still just block it. Now, moving on to ABA's Gear 2nd. Just like in base, this Luffy is heavily carried by his Gatling, since it's really his only combo extender. Now, you could make the argument about down slamming into Bazooka and hoping your opponent blocks it, but that's never guaranteed, so it's not really a viable option. And again, due to the whole hitbox update, one hit from Gatling is practically just death. And to make it even worse, Jet Gatling seems to have an extended hitbox in the front of it, even though it looks like it shouldn't. Now, obviously, we can't forget about the ultimate. This ultimate is really funky, because if you're in the distance of insta-kill, well, you know, you get insta-killed. But my question is why it does over 50 damage if you block it from that distance. I'm pretty sure it deals around 75 damage, if I'm correct, which is about the same amount of damage as Super Spirit Bomb, when it's not blocked. Now, for Heaven's Arena's Gear 2nd. Unlike its base counterpart, this Luffy is a whole lot better, and definitely works out well in terms of combos, even if its only main combo extender is also Gatling. But that isn't much of a problem since we have stuff like Extended Gatling, and the fact you can combo Bazooka into Pistol for more damage. But other than that, this Luffy really doesn't have too much going for it either. I mean, the ultimate is really solid, but that's practically the point of all ultimates. Plus, you have to remember that this Luffy also inflicts self-damage, and that self-damage mainly comes from your main source of damage, Jet Gatling Extended. In conclusion, I believe that ABA's Luffy is far superior in every way. Playstyle, combos, fun, etc. Now, that isn't to say that Heaven's Arena's Luffy is bad, but it just can't compete with the things that ABA's Luffy brings to the table. And now that concludes today's episode of ABA Compare and Contrast. If you like this series, make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to leave your take of ABA's Luffy versus Heaven's Arena's Luffy in the comment section below. Welcome back to another episode of ABA Compare and Contrast, the series where I take characters from ABA and compare them to characters from Heaven's Arena. Today's episode? Pre-time skip Naruto. Before this video begins, if you guys like the series, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll continue to make more compare and contrast videos. So, for this video, I think I'll be doing things a little bit differently again. As you know, ABA characters tend to have an awakening, right? Well, unlike the previous compare and contrast videos, Naruto's awakening doesn't share as many similarities to Heaven Arena's base Naruto, besides Rasengan. Due to this, I decided not to include Naruto's awakening from ABA, as there's not really much I can compare from it, so essentially I'll only be looking over the base for ABA's Naruto. I might do more like this in the future, depending on the character and their awakening, so with that all said, let's begin. Since last video I talked about ABA first, we'll talk about Heaven's Arena this time. In Heaven's Arena, Naruto consists of 4 moves total, those all being Shadow Clones. Naruto summons 2 clones which will chase after the opponent, and M1 them if they're nearby. This allows you to use them for various things, such as combo extending. These clones are blockable though. Fuma Shuriken. A fast-traveling long-range projectile which guard breaks, and combo extends if you use basic knockback on the opponent. Uzumaki Barrage, a guard-breaking move which leads into multiple hits from Shadow Clones that ends off with a down slam. And finally, for his ultimate, Rasengan. Staying true to the other ultimates in the game, this ultimate guard breaks and hits knockdown opponents. After being hit by this move, the opponent will be caught in some sort of multi-hitting explosion which will knock back on the final hit. And due to the recent update, after being knocked back, the opponent will have iframes afterwards for a certain amount of time, so you can't combo extend off of Rasengan. With Heaven's Arena's Naruto covered, we'll now look over ABA Naruto's base. ABA characters usually have 4 moves in base, and Naruto's no different. Now, these moves are Rasengan, a high-damaging guard-breaking move, which grants you a slight speed boost upon use. If the opponent doesn't block this, they'll be knocked back. Uzumaki Barrage. Naruto will summon 2 clones right next to him, which will kick the opponent into the air, as another clone is summoned that will down slam the opponent to the ground, allowing you to combo extend if used properly. Shadow Clones. Naruto summons 2 clones which will chase after the opponent. If the clones make contact with them, they will kick the opponent for 6 damage each, resulting in the opponent taking 12 total damage. You can use this move to combo extend, although keep in mind, it is blockable. Clone Throw. Naruto summons a clone which will throw him towards the opponent. This move deals 10 damage if hit, and allows you to combo start with it. Although, there's a slight chance you'll be able to combo extend with this move, but it's not always true, so. Now, with all these moves covered, this is the point where I give my opinions on them. So, let's begin with Heaven's Arena. So, in the most recent update for Heaven's Arena, Naruto had a bunch of balance changes, and majority of them were actually changes I requested for my What's Wrong With video on Naruto. Now, whether this was a coincidence, or I don't really know. Although, as I stated in that video, if those changes were to be added, that won't stop Naruto from being really broken. As of right now, Naruto is still a solid character. He's probably still one of the top dogs of Heaven's Arena, with a lot of combo potential and a lot of versatility with his Shadow Clones. As for ABA's Naruto, his base is also super solid with way more combo potential but less versatility from his abilities. But when put against more higher tier characters in the game, Naruto only stands a slight chance, with his awakening having to carry him, but as I said, I won't be putting that into account. Now, there's nothing really too special about his moves. I mean, the most creative thing you could really do with a move is to use Shadow Clones to protect yourself from an attack. In conclusion, I believe that Heaven's Arena's Naruto is superior to ABA's Naruto. Both movesets are super similar, although Heaven's Arena offers more creativity with all the mix-ups you can use your Shadow Clones for, while also being able to pack a punch with how strong his combos are. While yes, ABA's Naruto has equally, or maybe even stronger combos, I feel like it lacks the creative approach that Heaven's Arena's Naruto has. I can't really rate the characters based on how strong they are, since their gameplay feels really similar, so it just comes down to the other factors. With everything covered, if you guys like this series, then leave a like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave your take on Heaven's Arena's Naruto versus ABA's Naruto in the comments section below. Now, before I end this video, I just want to say that most likely, if I included ABA Naruto's awakening, he would have probably won. Oh, and now that I covered all of ABA's starters that are in Heaven's Arena, I'll be doing videos on other characters now, like Vegito. Now, with that all said, I'll see you. Welcome back to another episode of ABA Compare and Contrast, the series where I take characters from ABA and compare them to characters from Heaven's Arena. Today's episode, Vegito. Before this video begins, if you guys like this series, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe, so I'll continue to make more. Now, I know most people don't like when this is brought up, but I have to bring in the graph. I mean, just look at this difference. So, if you've been keeping track of my community posts, then you'd know that Vegito had won the poll that I posted a few days ago. So that's why today, we'll be comparing Vegito from ABA and from Heaven's Arena. With that all said, let's begin. Now, I think we'll start off with Heaven's Arena for today. Vegito in Heaven's Arena consists of 6 moves, technically 7/8 moves if you really want to count all the variations. Now, these moves are Banshee Blast, a blockable projectile that when used near an opponent will auto-aim towards them, and it can also split up between targets, but when not near an opponent, it will go straight forward. Banshee Blast E variation. This move doesn't have a name, but when you hold E and use Banshee Blast will go straight forward even if you're near an opponent. Spirit Sword, a decently ranged guard break which combo extends. This move also has the range of an evasion, so if you play your cards correctly, whenever your opponent uses evasion, you can immediately turn around and hit them with a Spirit Sword for a free combo. Spirit Sword Slash. This move is only usable whenever you hold E and press Spirit Sword. Basically, you swing the Keyblade forward, knocking away anyone who's in its path. Although, unlike its base variant, this move does not guard break. Spirit Sword Get Up. If you're knocked on the ground and press Spirit Sword, right before you get up, you'll unleash your Spirit Sword onto the closest opponent, granting you a free combo. Although this move does not work if they're standing directly on top of you. Savage Strike. Vegito uses instant transmission to teleport on top of the opponent, as he then strikes them to the ground, leaving them grounded for a few seconds. Despite how it looks, this move does not guard break surprisingly. Final Kamehameha. Vegito takes a second as he unleashes his devastating Final Kamehameha. Like other ultimates, this move will guard break and hits grounded opponents. With the final Transform. This move appears whenever you hold E and replaces your Final Kamehameha until you let go of E. After a decently long cooldown, you'll be able to use this move. Despite how it looks, it's not an awakening. You're only able to transform twice, each time giving you a small damage boost. The first transformation being Super Vegito, and the second one being Vegito Blue. You'll keep these transformations until you die, although the cooldown for the transformation will not carry over after death. Now, with Heaven's Arena's Vegito covered, let's look over ABA's Vegito now. As usual to ABA characters, Vegito consists of 8 moves in total, 4 in base, and 4 in Awakening. Here, let's just get on with the showcase. Cross Kicks, a 2-hit combo ender which deals 30 damage in total. The final hit will guard break, although if not blocked, it'll knock back. Split Finger Shot, a blockable combo extender in which Vegito fires 3 Ki Blasts, all dealing 10 damage. Savage Strike. Vegito uses instant transmission to teleport above the opponent, as he then strikes them downwards for 15 damage. Unlike Heaven's Arena, this move will guard break, although it's pretty easy to dodge. Spirit Sword. Vegito dashes forward as he forms a Keyblade that he uses to swipe in front of him, stunning anyone that's hit by it. You can use this move to combo extend by laddering with it. As for Awakening, Vegito takes the form of Super Saiyan Blue. Cross Kicks. This move functions similar to base, but with 4 kicks instead of 2. And for some reason, it deals the same amount of damage as base, so Super Spirit Sword. Like base, Vegito will dash forward and form a Keyblade, which he'll swing twice this time, both hits dealing 15 damage, although only the first hit will guard break. Split Finger Shot. Instead of 3 Ki Blasts, Vegito will fire 6 Ki Blasts, which combo extend. And just like in base, each Ki Blast will deal 10 damage, bringing the total damage to 60. Final Kamehameha. Vegito takes a second to prepare his Final Kamehameha, as he then shoots it towards where his mouse is pointing. This move will guard break, although it has a ton of startup to it. Now, this is a section where I give my opinions on the characters. So, let's begin with Heaven's Arena. Heaven's Arena's Vegito is super solid. I mean, it makes sense, he's a Game Pass character and all, but putting that aside, his combos deal heavy amounts of damage, especially when he's in one of his transformations. He also has many options for his moves. He might even have one of, if not the, most variation of moves for a character in Heaven's Arena, aside from, characters who changed their moveset in Awakenings. Not to mention his ultimate, which can deal around half of an opponent's HP, and even more when Super Saiyan Blue is active. Without a doubt, this Vegito is strong. Now for ABA's Vegito. This Vegito is also super solid, and his combos are way more deadly. Although he lacks good guard breaks, the fact that getting hit by Spirit Sword can lead into an insta-kill combo definitely makes up for it. And then Awakening makes it even more deadlier by making Spirit Sword into a guard break. Not to mention the fact that his main combo extender in Awakening deals 60 damage. And this move isn't like a barrage, where you can miss most of its hits while trying to combo. You see, with this move, if you ladder with it, you're practically able to hit all 6 shots. Now, this is going to be kind of hard to say who wins this, as ABA's Vegito is super strong and can kill you in one combo, but is super predictable and can be punished pretty easily. Then for Heaven's Arena's Vegito, who's definitely strong and way more versatile, but has a couple of downsides with him, like his damage being severely limited if he doesn't have his Spirit Sword back. If anything, I might have to give these two a tie. Both M1 reliant characters with strong combos that become even deadlier when transformed. Yeah, I might have to end this one in a tie. It's pretty hard to decide. Like, on one hand, ABA's Vegito has a bunch of positives that come with him, but gets weighed down because of his negatives. And on the other hand, Heaven's Arena's Vegito has not as many positives, but less negatives. So yeah, I'm gonna say it's a tie. There's probably something I'm forgetting that makes one of the two win, but keep in mind, it's all my opinion. And don't forget to leave your take on ABA's Vegito versus Heaven's Arena Vegito in the comment section below. If you guys like the series, then make sure to like and subscribe. We're really close to 2,000 subs, so it would be greatly appreciated. By the time this video is out, there should be a poll on my community post on what characters you guys would like to see next on Compare and Contrast. So yeah, go make sure to check that out and vote who you guys want. Now, before we go, I do have a little bloopers of Defective trying to read my script, so here you go.
Spirit Sword! Vegito dashes forward as he forms a Keyblade that uses to swipe... Damn it!
Now you see how hard it is.
Turn off noise suppression so you can hear me better. It's probably gonna sound worse.
Now you see how it feels to read a script.
Spirit Sword! Vegito dashes forward as he uses... and for some reason deals the same amount of damage as base.
It does! It deals 30 damage!
It does?!
It does! Now, there's a lot more clips than that, but those were mainly the clips I wanted to show you guys. So, with that being said, I'll see you guys. Welcome back to another episode of ABA Compare and Contrast, the series where I take characters from ABA and compare them to characters from Heaven's Arena. Today's episode, Geo Brando. Brando. Welcome back to another episode of ABA Compare and Contrast, the series where I take characters from ABA and compare them to characters from Heaven's Arena. Today's episode, Giorno Giovanna. Before this video begins, if you guys like this series, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll continue to make more. We're almost at 2K subs, so it'd be appreciated. So, a few days ago, when I uploaded my Vegito video, I made a poll on what characters you guys would like to see next, and obviously Giorno won. So that's why today, we'll be comparing Giorno from ABA and from Heaven's Arena. Now, this episode is going to be slightly different, as this is our first character, which both games feature a true awakening for them. So, with that all said, let's begin. This time, we'll start off with Heaven's Arena again. Giorno in Heaven's Arena is very different from the rest of the characters, as obviously, he's one of the many few that has an awakening in this game. Therefore, he consists of many moves. Although, I'm not as experienced with Giorno, so I'll let one of my friends who mained him showcase him.
Muda Barrage, a quick barrage which combo extends and also guard breaks on the first hit. Sensory Overload, a guard breaking move which ragdolls the opponent. Although, because it ragdolls, you are not able to punish the guard break. This will also put an effect on the opponent's screen until they are up. Life Creation, a simple counter which reflects damage back to the opponent. This move can also hit grounded opponents, meaning the initial hit of the tree can damage too. And while the move is starting up, you have iframes during it. Life Creation, Heal. You're only able to use this move whenever you hold E and press Life Creation. As the name suggests, this move will heal you, but only for around 10 to 15%. Keep in mind, unlike its base variant, this move does not grant iframes, meaning it can get cancelled. Requiem. In place of Giorno's ultimate is his transformation. Once activated, Golden Experience will stab itself with the Requiem arrow, turning itself into Golden Experience Requiem, and changing Giorno's moveset. True Resolve. Giorno and GER will float around for a bit, maneuvering around any opponent's attacks. This move grants iframes while it's active. You're able to cancel it by pressing the move again. True Resolve, Far. This move is only achievable when you hold E and press True Resolve. This move works exactly like True Resolve, but you move a lot faster, allowing you to travel a further distance. Life Shot. GER shoots a long-ranged beam, which both guard breaks and combo extends. And if the beam hits a wall, 3 scorpions are summoned, which auto-track toward the opponent, although the scorpions are blockable. Muda Barrage. A quick, decently damaging barrage where every single hit guard breaks, although the final hit will knock back no matter what. Return to Zero. This move will free Giorno from any combo he's in, whether he's grounded or being hit in an ultimate, basically granting him a super evasion. Although unlike the basic evasion, you can use this move while being comboed in the air. This move will stun anyone nearby and grant everyone iframes while it's active, so a person who's not in range cannot attack someone who's stuck in an RTZ. Although it may seem like it, Giorno is not able to attack opponents in RTZ. This move is purely an evasion, and attempting to use any move will result in failure. This move can guard break, but you still won't be able to punish it.
Alrighty, thank you Narbolt for covering that. And now it's time for me to showcase Giorno in ABA. Like the majority of ABA characters, Giorno consists of 8 moves total, 4 in base and 4 in awakening. Those being Muda Barrage, a high damaging barrage which guard breaks on the final hit, although if not blocked, will knock back instead. When the move starts, a couple of flowers are spawned that will trap the opponent for some time. These will bypass block. Life Punch. Gold experience will strike the ground, causing a bunch of flowers to be summoned. If someone walks into them, the flowers will turn into trees that knock opponents away. If an opponent is hit by gold experience during this, they will be downslammed and have their controls reversed for a brief period of time. All of this is blockable. Tree. Giorno and gold experience punch the ground as a tree sprouts from beneath them, which damages anyone nearby. This move will guard break. Frog. Giorno will pull out a frog which will reflect incoming damage, although this move is only active for half a second. Awakening. Gold experience will stab itself with the Requiem arrow as it then transforms into gold experience Requiem. Now, I believe this is our first character who has a unique passive, that being Return to Zero. Basically what it does is that if Giorno is killed, he'll be put back to full HP, but lose all of his awakening in the process. This passive also allows him to survive one-shots like End or Mugetsu. Return to Zero will also trigger if Giorno's awakening ends. Another passive that Giorno has is that if an opponent is killed by Giorno, their screen will show them dying over and over again, although these extra deaths will not be counted to the leaderboard and do not take away stocks. His first move is titled Return to Zero, which is basically his passive, but once pressed, will trigger the passive early. 7-page Muda. Giorno teleports to an opponent as Gold Experience Requiem then unleashes a flurry of punches that deal 80 damage total. This move will break block, although it can be iframed or countered. Keep in mind, opponents/teammates can attack the person getting beat down, and for some reason the person getting beat down can also reset, making this move not so viable for public servers. Monologue. Giorno floats up as he then heals for 30 HP. Giorno will have iframes throughout the duration of this move. Scorpion Laser. Gold Experience Requiem shoots a yellow beam that auto-aims towards the opponent. This is blockable. However, once the beam makes contact with the ground or a wall, scorpions will be summoned that auto-track towards the opponent. These scorpions will guard break. With both movesets covered, it's time to give my opinion on them. So, let's talk about Heaven's Arena first. Now, this Giorno is kind of funky to play. While I was getting background footage and getting footage for the showcase section, I noticed that because Giorno takes a second to charge a punch before barraging, there's a chance that the opponent can just slip out of your combo before Muda Barrage even hits them. Whether this is intentional or not, I'm not too sure. But due to this, it severely limits Giorno, especially in base, as his barrage is his main combo extender. Now, as I mentioned, it's only a chance this can happen, so it isn't too much of an issue, but can definitely sell the match if this happens. Moving on to ABA's Giorno. this Giorno is definitely a lot easier to play. Although the whole flower mechanic can sometimes get in the way of combos, it isn't really anything too serious. His awakening, on the other hand, is kinda lame. I mean, the only thing really going for it is 7-page Muda and his passive. I mean, Scorpion Laser is good, but since his only other attacking move is 7-page Muda, there's not much you can really do with it. Now, for who wins this? In my opinion, I believe that the base for ABA's Giorno is better, but for the awakening, it goes to Heaven's Arena. Now, keep in mind this is my opinion, so don't forget to leave your take of ABA's Giorno versus Heaven's Arena's Giorno in the comment section below. If you guys like this series, then make sure to like and subscribe. As I said earlier, we're super close to 2K subs. Welcome back to another episode of ABA Compare and Contrast, the series where I take characters from ABA and compare them to characters from Heaven's Arena. Today's episode, Sosuke Aizen. Before this video begins, if you guys like this series, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll continue to make more. So, a few days ago, when I uploaded my Giorno video, I later on made a community poll on what characters you guys would like to see next. And as you can tell, Aizen won. If you guys want to vote on what character I make next, then make sure to keep an eye on my community posts. With that all said, let's begin by showcasing Heaven's Arena's Aizen. Aizen consists of 4 moves in total, those being Shumpo Slash. Aizen will begin to flash step at a fast speed, as he then unleashes a quick slash that will knock away anyone that's hit by it. But if they block it, they'll get guard broken instead. If you're in the air, knock the opponent away with an M2, and then use Shumpo Slash, you'll teleport to them and hit them with the move. Although this only seems to work with basic knockback, and not aerial upfling or down slam. Treachery, a quick stab which will guard break the opponent and also combo extends. Kyoka Sugetsu, a counter where if you're hit, you'll teleport behind the opponent. In the most recent update, they made it where that the person who got countered gets stunned for a little bit, allowing you to get a combo off of it. It also seems that the range for this counter is infinite, so make sure to keep that in mind. And finally, Aizen's ultimate, Black Coffin. Aizen casts out Hado 90 in front of him, trapping anyone inside. Once it's complete, this move will deal high damage to the opponent. Although, unlike other ultimates, this move surprisingly doesn't guard break, nor does it guard bypass. But I guess to make up for it, this move will stun anyone inside. With that all covered, let's move on to ABA's Aizen. Just like other ABA characters, Aizen consists of 8 moves total, 4 in base and 4 in awakening. Those all being True Power. Aizen uses his flash step to move around, as he then swings his sword downwards, unleashing a powerful slash which will guard break and down slam the opponent. Kyoka Sugetsu. Aizen places Kyoka Sugetsu on one opponent. If that opponent then hits Aizen while Kyoka is active, they will swap places with Aizen, and instead of Aizen taking damage, the opponent will take damage accordingly to what move they used. Although certain one-shots can bypass this, and keep in mind Kyoka is only active for a very short amount of time. Kuro Hitsugi. Aizen forms a purplish black box around the opponent. Once the box is fully formed, the opponent will take 40 damage. Although keep in mind this move is blockable and cancelable. Flash Dodge. Aizen will teleport multiple times around where he was standing, freeing him from combos. While this move is active, Aizen will have iframes. Now, keep in mind, you can cancel this move early by M1ing, which will also get rid of your iframes. For his awakening, Aizen takes out the Hogyoku and combines it with himself, granting him the powers of both a Soul Reaper and a Hollow. Kuro Hitsugi. Aizen forms a much larger version of his base Kuro Hitsugi, which will deal heavy amounts of damage to anyone trapped inside. Unlike base, this move will guard break. Although keep in mind, this move can only be used once in awakening. Kyoka Sugetsu. This move works just like base, except lasts much longer, and instead of placing it on the opponent, Aizen will instead place it on himself, making it where the next person who attacks him will take the reflected damage. True Power. This move works exactly like base, but deals twice the damage. Teleport. Aizen will teleport behind the opponent. If you use this move in the middle of a combo, it will free Aizen from the combo. Now this is the part of the video where I give my opinions on these characters. So, as usual, let's start off with Heaven's Arena's Aizen. This Aizen is definitely something. I mean, he's not really bad, but he's also not really good. The main thing that he lacks is combo potential, since, well, you know, he only has one combo extender. I mean, he does deal good damage with it, but it gets super repetitive since he doesn't have anything to mix it up with. When put against other characters in the game, I feel like it's really hard for this Aizen to compete against them. At first, he's kinda fun to play. I mean, when I first played him, he was pretty fun, but then after a while, it starts to get boring since there's not really much you can do with him. Maybe if he had some move variations, he'd be, you know, more fun, but as of where he is right now, he's alright. Now for ABA's Aizen. This Aizen is a whole lot better to use. Although he doesn't have the best combo extenders, which I don't even think they're true combo extenders, the damage that they deal and his counter/evasive definitely make up for his lack of combo potential. Now for his awakening. I mean, it's alright. I believe its purpose is just to counter other awakenings, which it succeeds in doing so. I find this Aizen super solid and pretty fun. Although he can sometimes get repetitive, that's not to worry due to just how good of a character he is, and the fact that he just practically counters the majority of the characters in the game. In conclusion, I believe that ABA's Aizen wins by a long shot. Now, maybe if Heaven's Arena's Aizen had another combo extender of some sort, he could stand a chance, but I highly doubt it. Now, keep in mind, this is my opinion, so don't forget to leave your take on ABA's Aizen versus Heaven's Arena's Aizen in the comment section below. If you guys like this series, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, make sure to join the Discord. It should be in the description or the pinned comment. Welcome back to another episode of ABA Compare and Contrast, the series where I take characters from ABA and compare them to characters from Heaven's Arena. Today's episode, Whitebeard. Before this video begins, if you guys like the series, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll continue to make more. So, about a day after I uploaded my Aizen video, I posted a poll on what character you guys would like to see next, and as you can tell, Whitebeard won. If you guys would like to vote on what character I compare next, then make sure to keep an eye on my community posts. With that taken care of, let's begin by showcasing Heaven's Arena's Whitebeard. Just like majority of characters, Whitebeard consists of 4 moves total, those all being Boost Slash, a blockable slash which combo extends. Tremor. Whitebeard unleashes a punch which will cause a tremor in front of him. This tremor will travel a decent range before it stops. This move will guard break if you're up close to the opponent, but if they're at a distance, this move will not guard break. You're able to use this move on grounded opponents. Cleaving Tremor, a crushing slash which will knock away anyone hit by it, but if they block this move, it'll guard break instead, allowing you to get a combo off of it. And finally, for his ultimate, Island Shaking. This move is like Tremor, but instead of just one Tremor being created directly in front of you, 2 Tremors are created to the sides of you. Just like Tremor, the Tremors that are created are blockable at a range, but will guard break the opponent when up close. Staying true to other ultimates, this move can hit grounded opponents. With Heaven's Arena covered, let's move on to ABA's Whitebeard, who consists of 8 moves in total, 4 in base and 4 in awakening, those all being Crush, a long-range shockwave which will knock away anyone who comes in contact with it, although this move is blockable. Sweep, a multi-hitting combo extender in which all hits guard break. Ground Shaking, Whitebeard shatters the air beside him, resulting in anyone nearby to be knocked away. This move will bypass block, although you can dodge it by jumping over the attack. Gura Punch, Whitebeard charges the punch for a second as he then unleashes it in front of him. Anyone hit by this move will be knocked away, but if they block it, it'll guard break instead. For his awakening, Whitebeard removes his cape and reveals his unscarred back, showing that he had never ran away from a battle before. Pole Smash, this move is essentially just Crush, but with more range, more damage, and guard break. Helmet Breaker, a much faster and stronger version of Gura Punch. Mega Sweep, as the name suggests, this move is just sweep, but bigger, more damage, and doesn't guard break. Island Shaking, this move is basically just ground shaking, but has more range and deals 200 damage. Keep in mind, after this move is over, you'll be kicked out of awakening. Something to take note of is that when compared to other characters, ABA's Whitebeard has extra M1 damage and M1 range. Now, this is the part of the video where I give my opinions on these characters. So let's talk about Heaven's Arena's Whitebeard first. This Whitebeard is pretty solid and somewhat creative. I like how instead of making all of Tremor guard break, only the punches of it guard breaks and not the move itself. This Whitebeard is pretty fun to play around with, although he doesn't have that many mix-ups, so I can only see myself playing around with him maybe once or twice. As for ABA's Whitebeard, this Whitebeard is really strong. Even though he only has one combo extender in both Base and Awakening, the damage he can get from it is pretty high. Although due to his lack of range, I feel like he might suffer from that. Plus, Whitebeard is one of those characters whose Awakening is basically just their base, but stronger. And not to mention that two of the moves that he has are super similar, those being Crush and Gura Punch. So I feel like due to this, Heaven's Arena's Whitebeard wins. Now, yes, ABA's Whitebeard is stronger and has some strong combos, but at the same time, those combos don't really require much effort to pull them off. Whenever I play ABA's Whitebeard, I feel like I'm doing the same things over and over again, just because of how similar his moves can get. And if you're like me, then doing the same things over and over again can get pretty boring. Now, keep in mind, this is my opinion, so don't forget to leave your take on ABA's Whitebeard versus Heaven's Arena's Whitebeard in the comment section below. If you guys like this series, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and also join the Discord in the description or in the pinned comment. With that all said, I'll see you. Welcome back to another episode of ABA Compare and Contrast, the series where I take characters from ABA and compare them to characters from Heaven's Arena. Today's episode, Gojo Satoru. Before this video begins, if you guys like the series, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll continue to make more. And while you're at it, why not join the Discord too? It's in the description and pinned comment. So, a few days ago, I uploaded a compilation video, and after that video was released, I posted a poll on what characters you guys would like to see me compare next. And, as you can tell, Gojo won. There's not really much more I have to say, so let's begin by showcasing Heaven's Arena's Gojo, who consists of 4 moves in total, those being Blue Attraction, a combo extender which pulls in the opponent, although keep in mind this move is blockable. Red Repulsion, an AoE explosion which will knock away anyone hit by it. If the opponent blocks this, they'll get guard broken. Hollow Purple, a fast traveling projectile which will knock away anyone and guard break anyone in its path. While Gojo is casting this move, he has iframes during it. This move can hit grounded opponents, so use that to your advantage. And finally, for his ultimate, Domain Expansion, Unlimited Void. Gojo takes off his mask as he then unleashes his domain, which will freeze any opponents trapped inside of it. While Domain is active, Gojo is able to move and attack freely, same goes for his teammates. If an opponent is at 25% HP or lower, Gojo is able to press 4 again to instantly kill them, although you have to be within a certain distance, which shouldn't be too hard to accomplish since, well, they can't move inside of Domain. With Heaven's Arena Gojo all covered, let's move on to ABA's Gojo, who consists of 8 moves in total, although one of the moves functions a little bit differently, but I'll get into that later. For his first move, he uses Red Reversal, which will knock away anyone around Gojo. If they block it, they'll still get knocked back, but they'll be guard broken, and after a certain distance, Gojo will teleport behind them, allowing him to punish the guard break. Backhand. Gojo slaps the opponent away as he then teleports behind them, slamming them to the ground, which allows him to combo extend from this. If the opponent blocks the first hit, they'll get guard broken from it. Although this move is cancelable, so be cautious whenever you use it. Collapsing Blue. Gojo throws a projectile which will pull in opponents nearby it. Pressing the button again causes the move to trigger early. Infinity. A counter which, if used correctly, Gojo will teleport behind the opponent, and the move will not go on cooldown. But if the counter fails, the move will go on cooldown. For his Awakening, Gojo removes his blindfold, which allows him to utilize Limitless to its fullest extent. Stronger Backhand. As the name suggests, it's just backhand, but faster and stronger. Collapsing Blue Max, a stronger and bigger version of, well, you know, base Collapsing Blue. Hollow Purple, a fast traveling projectile which deals 100 damage, 25 if blocked. Keep in mind, once you use this move, you'll be kicked out of Awakening. If you haven't noticed already, I've skipped a move, and this is because this is the move which I mentioned earlier that functions a little bit differently, so let's cover that. Unlimited Void. Gojo unleashes his Domain Expansion, which will change the property of his moves for a brief period of time, although during this time, he is unable to M1. Stronger backhand plus unlimited void. Before slapping the opponent, Gojo will teleport to them as he unleashes the attack. Instead of guard breaking, this move will bypass block. Collapsing blue max plus unlimited void. This move works the same to its counterpart, except guard breaks once triggered. And finally, hollow purple plus unlimited void. Once hollow purple is unleashed, it will chase after an opponent until they're hit or it despawns. Although while inside of unlimited void, hollow purple is significantly slower. With everything covered, this is the part of the video where I give my opinions on these characters. So, as usual, let's start off with Heaven's Arena's Gojo. This Gojo is alright. His moves aren't really the most exciting. The only ones that are somewhat significant would be Blue Attraction and Unlimited Void. That's not to say he isn't strong, it just feels like he's missing something. I mean, after the whole no wall bounce comboing with M1s, it just feels like every character is missing something. I feel like the only thing that this Gojo really has going for him is the fact that your teammates can still act while Unlimited Void is active. Now on to ABA's Gojo. This Gojo has many options with his moves. I mean, come on. He's one of the only characters that has a move which doesn't go on cooldown if you land it successfully. Both his damage output and combo potential are super strong. And not to mention, he technically has 2 ultimates in Awakening. Plus, he's a pretty fun character to play, although sometimes you can get screwed over by backhand's range. As for who wins this, I mean, it's pretty obvious. ABA's Gojo is just better all around. More versatile, more creative when it comes to how moves work, and just a lot more fun to use. Now, keep in mind, this is my opinion, so don't forget to leave your take on ABA's Gojo versus Heaven's Arena's Gojo in the comment section below. If you guys like this series, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And also join the Discord, since, you know, it'd be appreciated. With that all said, I'll see you. Well, here we are. Another episode of ABA Compare and Contrast, where I take characters from Anime Battle Arena and compare them to Heaven's Arena. A few weeks ago, Heaven's Arena has surprisingly updated, and in that update, we got 2 new characters, a new assist system, which I might cover, I'm not too sure, and a whole combat system rework. So that totally invalidates my combat system compare and contrast, but whatever, it was already invalidated a while ago. So anyways, today we'll be comparing ABA's Deku to Heaven's Arena's Deku. Now, before I begin, make sure to like and subscribe, and leave a comment on your thoughts of these characters. Now, things are going to work a little bit differently here. If you've tested out Deku in Heaven's Arena, then you should know that his ultimate is infinite 100%. And as for ABA's Deku, his ultimate is full cowling, with Lemillion having infinite 100% Deku as his awakening. So, what I'll be doing is that I'll compare the base of ABA Deku to Heaven's Arena's Deku, and compare the awakening of Lemillion to infinite 100% Deku. With that all said, let's begin by showcasing Heaven's Arena's Deku. St. Louis Smash. Deku will kick forward. If an opponent is hit, they will be knocked upwards and Deku will leap after them. This move will break the opponent's block if guarded. Manchester Smash. If you use St. Louis Smash high enough in the air, Deku will bring his leg down and crush anyone underneath him, resulting in them being grounded. This move has the ability to hit grounded opponents, meaning if you knock the opponent to the ground, you can hit them again. This move also breaks blocks, so it's pretty good for a sneak attack. Delaware Smash Air Force. After a short windup, a projectile will travel forward which will knock back opponents if they're hit by it. This move will also break blocks, so keep that in mind. Black Whip. This move will auto-track to the closest opponent. Once grabbed, they'll be slammed to the ground. If you attempt to use this move in the air, the opponent will fall down before the move connects. This move has a long range, but does not target opponents behind you, and is blockable. Alright, so while I was getting footage for the video, I was able to land Black Whip in the air, but it was only one time out of multiple attempts, so there's like a slight chance you can hit it in the air, but not guaranteed. Black Whip Pull. If you hold E, Black Whip becomes Black Whip Pull. This move has the same properties as Black Whip, but instead, you will pull yourself towards the opponent and kick them away. Infinite 100%. Once you use this move, Deku will begin to power up for a few seconds until he releases his infinite 100% form. In this state, Deku gains teleport dashes and a new move, although he will not gain any HP back, and once your ultimate ends, you will lose half of your HP. Detroit Smash Barrage. Deku will unleash a flurry of punches that will hit anyone in front of him. Afterwards, he charges one final punch that knocks the opponent away. This then takes away all of his ultimate bar and gets rid of half of his HP. This move will guard break the opponent if blocked and can hit grounded opponents. If multiple people are caught in this move, the final punch will target the closest opponent. Now, let's move on to ABA's Deku, beginning with his base. Delaware Smash. After a short windup, a quick traveling projectile is shot in front of Deku. This move can guard break opponents, although Deku will take 5 damage after using this move. But if you use this move below 5 HP, it will not kill you. Detroit Smash. Deku charges up a punch and then releases it, causing anyone in front of him to be knocked away. This move will guard break anyone hit by it and can be charged for more damage. Just like Delaware Smash, Deku will take 5 damage. Detroit Smash Aerial. This move works the same as the grounded variant, but will knock down anyone caught by it. Leap. Deku uses one for all to leap toward an opponent. This leap has slight auto tracking to it, and will stun the opponent if they don't block it. You can also pair this move with Detroit Smash, resulting in a somewhat auto tracking Detroit Smash. Manchester Smash. Deku kicks the opponent, resulting in them being knocked to the ground, allowing you to get a combo off of this. Alright, so as I stated earlier, since Heaven's Arena's Deku uses infinite 100% Deku, I'll cover the Awakening for Lemillion since that also uses infinite 100% Deku. Shoot Style Leap. Similar to Deku's Leap, but deals 20 damage and is unblockable, meaning you could get a free combo off of this since it forces the opponent to let go of their block. Consecutive Normal Punches. Deku charges up a punch and releases multiple punches in front of him. This move can guard break opponents and will knock back anyone caught inside of it, even if they're guard broken, meaning you won't be able to get a good punish off of this move. 100% Manchester Smash. Deku teleports to the opponent and kicks them upwards, resulting in them being flung to the sky. Wyoming Smash. Deku teleports to an airborne opponent and then slams them to the ground. This move will also guard break the opponent if they're blocking while they're hit by it. Keep in mind, you can only use this move on opponents in the air, so it's best to pair it up with 100% Manchester Smash. Now, let's dissect these characters, or in simpler terms, let's analyze them. Deku in ABA was added in June of 2019, meaning his moveset was limited to My Hero Seasons 1 through 3, and Lemillion was released in December of 2020, meaning his moveset was limited to My Heroes Season 1 through 4, as the developers don't usually tend to use manga moves unless it's really necessary. Meanwhile, Deku in Heaven's Arena was released recently, meaning he has access to newer abilities such as Black Whip, and any other abilities he showcased in Seasons 5 and 6. When we take a look at their abilities, we can tell they both utilize similar moves, with the only move that really stands out being Black Whip, as Deku has not used this move prior to Season 5. With that covered, I'll now state my opinions on the characters, starting off with ABA. Deku in ABA is quite choppy, which makes sense for an older character, although due to his past buffs, he's pretty fun, and his combos are very nice. Infinite 100% Deku, on the other hand, feels rushed. Most of his moves are just reskins, and there's little to no animation or effects on them. While yes, he is fun to play, at the same time, he feels very anticlimactic due to this. As for Heaven's Arena's Deku, his moves are quite iffy. He only has one basic combo extender, that being St. Louis Smash, and Heaven's Arena's combat in general feels a bit off. Although due to his Delaware Smash and Black Whip, I feel like he's much better at zoning than he is at comboing, so if you play your cards right, he's pretty fun to play. Not much really changes when you go into infinite 100%, but that's fine since his base alone is strong. When it comes to effects though, he definitely takes the cake here. And there's even attention to detail with Ares' horn and Deku's face lighting up while he's transforming. All in all, I feel like Heaven's Arena's Deku wins for this one. There's obviously a lot more effort put into him, and I feel like he's way easier to use compared to ABA's Deku. They definitely served him a lot more justice with his ultimate as well, because believe me, I was disappointed when I saw consecutive normal punches on Lemillion's kit when he released. But even so, you still have to give some credit to ABA's Deku. Without any reworks or major buffs, he's still able to handle pretty well against newer characters. Although it would be nice if he and Infinite 100% Deku would get some retouches on their effects, but those don't really matter all too much. While I would love to see ABA added a new Deku with Black Whip or rework the old one, I doubt they'll do anything like that for a while. Now, these are just my opinions, so tell me, what do you guys think about these two Dekus? And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. Alright, we're back with another episode of ABA Compare and Contrast. You already know what this is about, but if you don't, in this series, I take characters from Anime Battle Arena and then compare them to Heaven's Arena. Today, we'll be covering that one kid who mastered Rock, Paper, Scissors, Gon Freaks, or Go freaks? Honestly, I don't know. Let me just check actually.
Hi, I'm Gon.
Alright, so it's Gon.
Ore Gon.
But it's also gone? Nah, I don't really know. If you guys know which one it is, then let me know. Anyways, before this video begins, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and leave your thoughts on these characters in the comment section below. Now, for this video, I'm just gonna refer to Gon as, well, Gon. So, if I'm incorrect, then womp womp. Now, let's begin by showcasing Heaven's Arena's Gon. For his first move, he uses a move called Rock. Gon concentrates his Nen into his fist and punches the opponent with it. Landing this move will result in the opponent being knocked back. This move will guard break blocking opponents and can hit grounded opponents as well. Although, if the opponent is guard broken by this move, they'll still be knocked back. Then we have E+1, which doesn't have a name, so some people may not know about this, and I didn't even know about this until I made this video. How it works is that Gon will lunge forward, then after a certain distance, he will unleash Rock. If an opponent is caught in his way, they'll be stunned as Gon punches them with Rock. Unlike his normal Rock, this move will not guard break, nor does it hit grounded opponents. Or well, to be more specific, the grab doesn't hit opponents, but the Rock move itself does. For his next move, he uses a move called Paper. Gon will once again concentrate his Nen into his fist, but this time, he will emit that Nen into a projectile that he fires in front of him. If the opponent is hit by this projectile, they'll be sent flying. Although, if you look closer, you can see that the opponent is shot at a faster speed than if they were hit by Rock, resulting in them being launched at a longer distance. This move will also guard break the opponent, and unlike Rock, they will not be knocked back if they're guard broken. For his third, or well, technically fourth move I guess, he uses a move called Scissors. Gon transmutes a blade of Nen onto his two fingers, as he then slices the opponent with it. This move allows him to combo extend and will also break opponent's blocks. Just like Rock, this move also has an E variation, where he'll dash forward before unleashing Scissors. Unlike normal Scissors, this will not guard break the opponent. Before we talk about his ultimate, he has one more move called Ren. This move can be used if you hold down E and press 4. Once this move is used, Gon will release his Nen, which will increase his damage on all his moves and decrease the amount of damage he takes. Now finally, his ultimate. I'll use everything. Gon makes a Nen contract that gives him all the power he'll ever have and ages himself up to an adult. This results in his strengths in general being increased, which can be shown by the one move that he has in this form, Rock. Gon will kick the opponent upwards, and as they fall down, he begins to charge up a punch which he'll then release onto them, resulting in the opponent being one-shot no matter what. This move will break blocks and hit grounded opponents. Once this move is over, Gon will die. He'll also die if you miss this move, so be careful. So, with all of Heaven's Arena's Gon covered, let's move on to Anime Battle Arena's Gon. For Gon's first move, he utilizes Rock. Gon charges up Nen into his fist, as he then releases it into a full AoE attack. This move has an unholy 45 damage, but thankfully it is blockable and has a decently noticeable startup towards it. For his second move, titled Pull, Gon takes out his fishing rod and uses it to pull himself forward. If an opponent is hit by the hook, they'll be reeled in, as Gon also gets pulled in. This also allows Gon to get a combo off of this, although it is a tad bit weird to use. For his third move, Gon uses an attack named Scissor. Gon charges up Nen into his two fingers, creating an energy blade as he then dashes forward, cutting up anyone who gets in his way. This move will guard break opponents and slightly stuns the opponent if they're hit by it. For his final move, Gon uses an attack called Paper. Gon will charge up Nen in his hands, creating an energy spear, which he then shoots forward. The player is able to control where the spear goes by moving their camera around. And for Gon's awakening, I'll use everything. Just like in Heaven's Arena, Gon makes a contract that will give him all the power he'll ever have. And similar to Heaven's Arena, Gon only has one move as well, titled End. When this move is used, Gon will teleport to the person on his mouse. Once he does, he'll kick them into the air and start charging up rock. Once the opponent falls down, Gon will unleash rock onto them and one-shot them. Once this move is over, Gon will become a burnt stick and die. This move will bypass blocks, and there's only a handful of characters who can actually survive this ultimate. With both characters covered, let's now analyze them. Obviously, we can tell that they both use similar moves, with only one of them being different for both Gons, that being Pull and Ren. Now, there are not a lot of moves that they really could have used for Gon, so this makes sense. Well, I guess there are some moves that they used pre-Nen, but why would you not give them Nen, so. Now, for his transformation, I do believe they could have been a little bit more creative with this. Instead of just being a one-shot kick, they could have split the moves. In the anime, Gon showed off a few attacks that they could have used as moves, but there's not really much we can do about it. And it's not entirely impossible, as we've seen AUR do this before. So, now that we have a better understanding of their moves, I'll move on to my opinions on both characters, starting off with Anime Battle Arena. Gon in Anime Battle Arena is severely underwhelming. It definitely feels like he was rushed. I mean, look at Rock. This move is barely similar to how it works in the anime, and not to mention that all his moves feel kind of clunky to use, if that's the correct term. For instance, his pull has this weird rubber band situation, where if you land it on an opponent, you'll be flung slightly farther than they were, and then be brought back to them. As for his awakening, it just screams rushed. I mean, just take a look how simple it is, and there's not even death animation, he just becomes a stick. Now, I understand that Gon is a pretty old character, but that doesn't excuse the lack of effort put into him. Now for Heaven's Arena's Gon. Heaven's Arena's Gon is a whole lot better than ABA's Gon. Unlike ABA's Gon, this Gon actually has a combo extender that can function properly. Plus, his kit is pretty fun to play around with, and with the whole wall combos thing, you can pull off some nasty combos with rock and paper. Although his ultimate is practically the same thing as ABA's Gon, that can be forgiven with all the effects put into it. Both his transformation and the entire move itself have beautiful effects. Plus, the move actually feels like there's an impact on the hit. Now, do I really need to tell you who wins? If it wasn't obvious enough, Heaven's Arena's Gon wins by a long shot. It's not to say that I don't like ABA's Gon, he can be fun to play, it just kinda disappoints me of how little effort there was put into him. And with all these new characters, plus people slowly getting better at countering him, he can barely even stand a chance in a 1v1 situation. The most he really has going for him in a battle is his rock and his awakening. It would definitely be nice to see him get a rework in the future, and maybe he could become a little bit more viable. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if he did get one at this point, since this year we've seen a few characters get reworked, such as Minato and Law. Although there are probably characters worse than Gon, so maybe we won't see one, but who knows. Remember, these are just my opinions, so tell me, what do you guys think of ABA's Gon and Heaven's Arena's Gon? And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. Now, I don't really expect anyone to make it to the end of this video, but if you have, then thanks for sticking around. Anyways, yeah, thanks for a wonderful year, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.